Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. We're going to start with this exciting news this is from Link2, one of my sponsors. Former Goldman Sachs executive Craig Broderick joins Circle with Circle's mission to lead digital currency landscape. Broderick's expertise will ensure stability and regulatory compliance for USDC. And Link2 had added Circle last week, but they don't have any now. And I'm going to check and see if they're going to be adding any more. I don't know the answer to that yet, but the link is in the top of the description. With Link2, you do have to add your funds before things get, so that your funds are sitting there, so that if they do list Circle this next week or something, that you're ready to make the purchase. Check out what I am doing. I went to Walmart yesterday and I bought the cheesiest America hat that I could find, and this was it. You can't see it in this picture, but on the side it has the American flag stars in the blue and white, blue background, white stars. Here's my two butts that I've done. I just put some ribs on the smoker, and I've got some sausage coming up, and then we're going to cook some hot dogs later on. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Now, Anthony Pompliano, I don't think we've seen him on CNBC in a long while, since he was a major sponsor of FTX, and he did the pizza boxes. I don't know. We never found out what happened to that business, but now he's back on CNBC. They gave him a timeout.
And there are times when I feel inadequate. I don't know about you, Anthony, but it's a very sort of a diffuse, not a real specific feeling, because that's what I feel like the SEC. What is inadequate? BlackRock and Fidelity don't know how to do an application for a spot. What about it is inadequate, Pomp? And would they rather have FTX and Binance and all these other exchanges involved instead of something as simple as the underlying asset itself in a spot ETF? They just don't like Bitcoin. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think we have to separate out kind of the historical trends and kind of conversation from this specific issue. And so really what the SEC is saying here is, hey, all of you put forward these applications. There's a specific detail around a surveillance sharing agreement that's unclear. Who are you going to be working with? So you say in the application you're working with someone, who is it? And so they're not rejecting the applications. They're not saying, hey, these are not going to get approved. What they're simply saying is give us the full information. We want to understand it. And so already we've seen CBOE go ahead and refile, clarifying that those surveillance sharing agreements will be with Coinbase. My expectation is that we'll see NASDAQ and the BlackRock ETF do the exact same thing early this week. And so really this is a lot of hoopla and a lot of conversation. But at the end of the day, I think it's a very small detail that probably is much more a formality than anything else. And it leads to, look, Bitcoin is up 85% to start the year. It's the best performing asset in kind of the first half of the year. And I think that what we're watching is Wall Street.
Look, not more than maybe 3 weeks ago, XRP was the best performing of all Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that on the year. Why weren't they bringing these guys out then? Where was Pompliano then? They never cue these guys until they need them. Now, then I've got this. Billionaire Tim Draper predicts Bitcoin cracks 250,000 level in 2013. Okay, the researchers have been at work this weekend, so I want to show you this video first, and then we'll go from there.
Just personally, I'm staking actually a little bit less than the average. So there you go.
What's the incentive? Why aren't you staking all of your Ether? Like, why haven't you just aped all the way in?
I think part of the reason is that when you make the sausage, you know how it's made. And there's a bunch of tail risk, that is difficult to quantify.
No, they called that guy. Sorry, they called that guy Justin Drake an Ethereum insider. I don't know who the guy is, but look at this from Cowboy Crypto, who is the official cowboy of the Digital Asset Investor channel. It says Justin Drake is a researcher at the Ethereum Foundation and is also invested in Riot Systems alongside Hashkey, who funded Prometheum with Wang Zhang. Riot Systems develops infrastructure based on Ethereum encryption technology, achieving almost no gas cost and data sovereignty. Alchemy is also littered with investors like A16Z. A lot of these names are ETHgate names. A16Z, Coinbase, Pantera Capital, which is Jed McCaleb, Peter Thiel, Redpoint, Silver Lake. So, but there's Hashkey and all that. Now, we're not done yet. The sleuths were at work. Mr. Huber, I don't think he sleeps, but he found this one. He says, holy whatever, that guy just slipped a bomb. Oh, he slipped something that was even unpleasant for himself. This guy, let me see if they say who this guy is. He's at iThunderbird. Xavier Hawk is his name. Watch this.
If you think about it, if all Ethereum did was...
That's the volume of the video. It's not my volume.
Clever way to make a token available and then cover up their doing that might or might not be, SEC regulated.
Sounds like disguised whales, but listen to what he says.
Because the people that were on their team worked for the there's a lot of weird stuff that's been going on. People that were on their team worked for the there's a lot of weird stuff.
The people on their team worked for the SEC.
But going on in this doing that might or might not be, SEC regulated, because the people that were on their team worked for the there's a lot of weird doing that might or might not be, SEC regulated, because the people that were on their team worked for the there's a lot of weird the people that were on the...
All right, now I think this is a different video here, like additional stuff.
If you think about it, if all Ethereum did was a clever way to make, now everybody's able to make their own tokens and break securities laws, right? And it's just that they can't catch up with everybody. And now it's gone to the point where it's not just corporations, it's individuals issuing their own NFT securities, right? And so the idea is whack-a-mole. They can't go after everybody fast enough, but this isn't the right tactic. The right tactic is to actually go and address what the real concern is, and that is the decentralization of governance with a stable price trade instrument that we're able to do business globally with. The reason I know that these guys aren't actually addressing that, because they haven't had to avoid being kidnapped by a pirate Somalian gang. They haven't had to avoid and survive an assassination attempt like I have. They haven't addressed and gotten hacked for $160 million and told, "Don't you ever stick your neck out again, boy." Because when you really go up against the system and you really make a change that threatens the cowards who are running the thing, because all they've done is they've cheated and taken as much as they can, got on top of the hill, and are preventing everybody from getting on top of the hill.
Sound familiar?
When really what we want to do is cooperate, have fun, explore life, and have a beautiful life with our families and our children. And that's what
Wow, I want to hang out with this guy. Okay, then we've got this. There was a rumor going around over the weekend, over the last few days, that Gary Gensler was going to resign. Charles Gasparino has, he says, as expected, SEC PR says Gary Gensler is not resigning. And then John Deaton says, not yet. We're entering the election year season, and more of the political liability, Gary Gensler becomes, the greater chance it does happen. Everybody was all over Gensler this weekend, but it's not just this. Remember Brian Costello? He's the guy that was on the Cool Guys Twitter Spaces, and he's the guy that's kind of an expert in CCP infiltration of the United States. Look at this. He's retweeting the video of Jay Clayton throwing Gary Gensler under the bus, and he says maybe it's time to illuminate Jay Clayton's concealment of China-related crimes when he was SEC chairman. I sincerely hope that SEC's internal whistleblowers step up to safeguard our nation. That's what I've been saying to previously crypto mom, Hester Pierce. Is she a good guy or not a good guy? Because she could have blown the whistle a long time ago. John Deaton, Brian, what we need to know is what precisely was discussed between Clayton and Gensler on December 21st, 2020, the day before Clayton directed the lawsuit against Ripple to be filed, Clayton's last full day at work. It's highly unusual to file a case of this magnitude. It's only the most significant non-fraud enforcement action since 1946, as the chairman leaves along with Director Enforcement, Trading, Markets, Corporate Finance, Joseph Grunvest. Called it a mass exodus that raised obvious concern and called into question the commission's use of discretion. Another way saying, what is your real motive for filing the suit? And Brian Costello replies to him and says, John, the problem extends to the December 21 meeting. They're smart and use of intermediaries. So now he's bringing in Hank Paulson. He says, consider the situation where Gensler meets with Hank Paulson, essentially engaging with the Chinese government. This is a rendezvous that takes place. In other words, what he's saying here is that they got Hank Paulson, who has no official position in government now, to go and meet with the Chinese on behalf of the SEC is what he's really getting at, which would be, I think, illegal at best. For him not to have registered as I don't know what it's called, a foreign something or other. Then Ryan Selkis, everybody was piling on Gary this weekend. I would not be surprised if Gary Gensler resigns soon. His only political future rests on bowing out gracefully in order to do this administration a solid in an election year, because we are making him an issue that could cost the Dems the Senate and key electoral college states by. And Deaton says, we need Patrick McHenry and all these Congress people and others at the FSC to subpoena all records, emails, correspondence, and notes regarding the meetings and communications between Gary Gensler and the SEC and Sam Bankman fraud. And Brian Costello replies to it. He says, Gensler is a criminal. I mean, this is hardcore stuff. Gensler is a criminal. He's safeguarding China's interests. Expect this issue to gain more attention. Clayton, too. He covered up illicit activities by executives based in China. It would be apt for Gensler and Clayton to share a jail cell. Man, that's some bold talk. I express these views with considerable thought and would gladly engage in a debate with either of them at any time. Brian Costello has the receipts, folks. And then there was this. This was put out by James Rule yesterday. And apparently it's a letter, I guess, from Congress to this is the part that caught my attention. A letter from Congress to Gary Gensler. Explain whether any SEC employees, including yourself, have used off-channel communications to conduct official SEC business. If so, provide a list of all such platforms and all SEC employees who have used off-channel communications for official business. And what this is from Jim Jordan and James Comer and Patrick McHenry. What this relates to, folks, remember when J.W. Verrett, we played a video, he was being interviewed by Thinking Crypto, and J.W. Verrett had made a comment that the people at the SEC use WhatsApp and other things to hide their communications, to have secret communications. Secret messages, folks. That's what we're dealing with. These people are supposed to represent the people of this country. And they're literally hiding information the same way they did the Hinman emails for 2 years, folks. Now, I'm not going to go through this thread, but Patrick Riley, who I believe he's running for president now, 2024 presidential candidate, he has put together an extremely thorough thread on Gary Gensler. You need to go through this thread. It mentions some people whose names we don't say on this channel. So go through that on your own time. Check it out. It is something to look at. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family to go check out Patrick Riley's It's a Wow thread. Thanks for listening.